Hello, my friends out there. Hello is a special welcome to all of you knitters and crocheters and yarn lovers out there. Doc here from Albuquerque in New Mexico today with a very special episode, not your normal podcast about current knits, but I did want to take a close look at all the neglected projects or at the projects that haven't even been started. I told you I'm telling you, I opened a few, sorry, I have this super annoying fly in here. Man, this fly was driving me bonkers. So let's get back to it. I have pulled out all of those random whack knitting bags, project bags, containers, patterns, and whatnot. And I thought it should be really fun to take a look at, with you, at everything that I have gathered. And also, I am quite determined that we need to do another UFO mania. And I'm calling it the UFO Mania 2026. And what I'm talking about is let's have a knit or crochet along for all those unfinished projects that we want to push to get finished. Let's do it, okay? Let's get started and take a look. I already took a picture for you so you see what's around me. I don't even have a big enough space in front of me between me here and you there, the camera. So forgive me for continuously reaching down. But for now, let's grab a few containers that are really easy. Hold on. I have just opened one container that has one project and some yarn for another project and some yarn for a current project. But when I grabbed this, I remembered in the box is the project, and you have seen that recently, so I'm not gonna really get into it because I'm talking about the Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry, where I am keeping the second balls of the yarn that I'm using in this container, just, you know, in view, in plain view, in the closet, in the hallway. And the little basket is in the airtight box by the fireplace. You saw me pick that up. What else is in that box? Let's take a look real quick. The yarn, the last two skeins for the Tani cardigan, and also the yarn for, who knows what it will be. I said that I would hold together these two yarns, a Knit Picks Telemark, and this is an alpaca. And I sampled, I swatched already with 3 different needle sizes. And I thought I was gonna make another ivy sweater, and believe it or not, my gauge was spot on. But right now, we're headed straight into spring, and I'm thinking, do I really need a very warm sweater, or wouldn't it be better to have a cardigan? So now I am already thinking about using the yarn for a Tani cardigan. Of course, I'm way off with my gauge and with my yarns because the Tani uses, I think, well, I'm holding 2 yarns together, but this is still a fingering and a lace yarn, whereas these two would be definitely more hefty. And but I'm one option would be to make the tani in but just make us a very small size, and hopefully that would work out. Just a thought, no decision made, but I really would love to knit up this gorgeous color very soon. And you're not going to be surprised. I'm already warning you now. You're going to hear that quite a lot, that I'm saying I would really not like to make this soon. And I would love for you to comment and let me know how that is for you. Does that happen to you, that you have a lot of things that you want to start, that you want to get done, a lot of ideas, but then you're just really not having enough knitting time? Because that's one thing that I'm contemplating, and I'm already kind of a little bit going ahead of myself, because I'm thinking, should I knit more during my day? Because if you've been here before, you will know that I usually only knit in the evenings, which of course then limits my time where I create. So I need thoughts, I need ideas. I would love to hear what you are thinking. I have recently started a sweater after I had recently, before that recent sweater knit, I had used this yarn for a shawl, triangular shawl. And now there was a problem with my sizing because I made it up and it didn't work out. The raglan was too short while the width was already there that I needed for sleeves and body. And so I'm really not sure. I just pulled the needles, I put all my yarns back in the bin, and now I'm not, here's a pattern that I thought I was going to use. I can, you know what? Give me a second. I'm going to pull that out of the box, out of the bin. The yarn that I'm using here is yarn, hold on, Yarn Citizen Harmony Worsted. And I have combined it with some Ziawo's yarn. This is Mesa. I have this, which is almost a full skein. And I have the gray in case I need more. And what this was, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm being noisy. And then I used this, which was, who knows what, something that I tried out. I think it was a base that I tried, but it's not, it didn't make it into my normal, you know, I'm not carrying it anymore. I just tried it out. I think I called it Yucca, actually. Yeah, it has a silk content. And when I started this sweater, I really, what I like is my initial idea of doing 3 color blocks, and if needed for the length, I'm going to add another block on the bottom with the green or the gray, and I will separate the color blocks with this pink accent. And but the way I was knitting it did not work out because the row gauge was wrong. And at the time, I talked about it in the podcast before I pulled the needles, because this ended up being too short. I could tell by the time I pulled the needles, I could tell that I will soon have the stitch count for the sleeves. Well, I'm just maybe making that up right now, but for sure it wasn't working out with the raglan measurement here. I could tell that it wasn't working out. So I decided I'm gonna give it a break and decide a little bit later on what I will do if I just grab a pattern and start over. And I mean, I could still do it similar, just if I use another raglan sweater pattern, or if I do a totally different pattern. And I had, in fact, in the last days, remembered a super nice sweater that I have had in my queue for quite some time. So I'm thinking, should I maybe finally make this one? Let me pull up the pattern for you. So the pattern is called the Camaro by Tanis Lavalley. And since I added this to my queue long time ago, quite some years ago, I've always wondered if this would really look good on me, or if I don't just love the model that's wearing it, and she's wearing it at a cropped length, and I thought it just looks so absolutely cool. So that is definitely an idea, but I do not have enough of a solid yarn to use on the bottom where she uses that soft brown. Not a problem, I can dye that myself. I have DK yarn. My DK yarn base is called Cozy, so that would be an option, and then I would just do the stripes on top in the yoke with the colors that you have seen. One idea, not really matured to the end, so, but we'll see. Okay, this was, let me arrange myself, my dear friends. I'm gonna try to grab the things that I'm still actively, possibly working on. And in fact, I have my Granny Stripes blanket here, which I shouldn't, it was just right there. So it's kind of like, it's quite active. Occasionally I'm grabbing it. So, but I haven't grabbed it in some weeks, so that's why I brought it. And then, oh my goodness. Sorry, this is so loud. Yeah. I have the High Desert yoke in the works, but it had a problem. And here's the bag that I have kept it in. And if you think this looks great, it sure does. 2 sleeves. But that was a problem, because as I was about to start the yoke, I was very irritated because my stitch count wasn't right. Turned out one of these sleeves I had knitted with the wrong stitch. I think I started off right away wrong. I had cast on the wrong amount of stitches. What the heck? So I was super frustrated. I almost ripped it out. I wasn't sure if maybe I'm gonna just give it away to someone who has more patience. But then people said, come on, this is so pretty. You gotta finish this. Calm down, put it in timeout, and that is what I've done. I have great colors, which I purchased on a trip to Wyoming and then also to Yellowstone, which was super nice memories. And the yarn was purchased at a fiber mill that we visited, my husband and I. And yeah, we were at Mountain Meadow Wool. That was such a great place, so fascinating. Yeah, very cool, very cool. And thank you, my friend Chrissy recommended to stop there, and I'm glad we did. Yeah, these are my three, can I count? Hello, my three contrast colors, and I have a fourth one which I had at the edge of the sleeves and on the bottom of the body. Kind of a mustardy color. Yeah, so see, and this is one of those sweaters where I'm like, oh right, I do still have this one. I should finish it. Let's do it. Should I? Do I? Sorry, my hair is all over my face. Okay, what do we grab next? Beautiful bag from Debbie Reese Designs. That was a gift a few years ago. So sweet. And what is in here is really something where I'm like, goodness, Doc, why don't you finish that? I wrote a pattern for fingerless mitts, and I just seriously love these. And then I lost steam because I had to make a decision if I write out this in words or if it's enough to just have it as a chart. And now I haven't touched it in years. I wanted to make another pair for my daughter who picked this green, and yeah. Don't know what I did with the pattern. I mean, it's already written. It's on my computer, of course, but there was a printed pattern where I don't know what happened to that. Okay, got this. And now, the hat, another one, another pattern of mine where I couldn't make up my mind. What am I going to do with the stitch pattern? Love the yarn, Zia Wools, and love the pattern, but couldn't make up my mind if I do it with lighter yarn and more stitches, or thicker needles and thicker yarn, of course. Now, the hats will probably go to my goddaughter and her sister because they're kid size, and that should be just perfect. This one, and then actually now I'm thinking, doesn't this even fit me? You may be able to see that they're very similar, yet I made some changes in the lace. I really think it's so cool. You know, when you don't pull out these things and you don't look at them, you forget. I'm not a planner. I'm really not a planner. I own a planner, but that still doesn't help me always with my knits and my ideas. This is really, I love this hat. Okay, maybe I'll just keep it on my head. cooled down a little bit today. So does that make me, should I wear a hat in the house? No, probably not. It's probably still going to be too warm, but for now, I like it. All right, what next? This is a funny one. Let me get it out of the bag. This is a shawl that I have made. It's for a shawl. It's not a shawl yet, unfortunately, but it's for a shawl, which is called the Tuch im gestreiften Zickzackmuster. It's kind of a little bit like the outline that I made by Beata of Hedgehog Fibers. And this is a beautiful, this is all Lana Grossa yarn that I picked probably 10 years ago, I want to say. Because I fell in love with that shawl, the shawl initially when I saw it in Germany in a store. And then I knew I wanted to make it, and I made probably 2 or 3, but I never made this one. But I also picked the colors to go together. Yeah. The pattern is in the bag, but that's about it. Back to designs that I would really like to finish. I had in this bag a Shawls yarn. I think this is Chama. Chama is one of my sport weight yarns, which is really great for anything with texture because it's a cabled yarn and it makes texture really pop and show nicely. I found a stitch pattern in one of my many books and started writing the pattern. I wanted to make a cowl, but you know what's super funny? Now I had another idea to play with 2 colors for this cowl. That just happened, this new idea. So I have to evaluate if that would be even possible with this stitch pattern. Here comes a true UFO, another true UFO. Someone recently asked me, do you still have this? Yes, I do. Hold on. That was my daughter. She just had a question. So, can you see the theme here? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's keep the things that should be worked on in plain sight, either on that little shelf over there where I can see the bag with the giant tag, or in clear containers. Does that help? This one, I'm looking at these things and I'm thinking, should I rip out anything? And I'm thinking, no, I'm going to rip out that sweater. But this thing here, I really want this. This is so soft and so sweet and delicate and a color that I love. I want it. I want this. Seriously. It's so lovely. And then I'm thinking about all the other lace yarns that I have in the stash outside in the garage that we're not even talking about, not even thinking about. Maybe we are thinking about them, but they're just out of this equation. Let's carry on. Okay. Are you laughing your butts off? I hope so. Okay, this was the Tree Peonies by, what am I gonna do with my glasses? By Denise Bartels. The other day I went to the grocery store without my reader. Somehow they had vanished out of my purse. I was standing like a lunatic in front of the shelf. I don't know what it was, yogurt, cheese, something where I needed to figure out the sodium content. And those of you who also struggle with poor vision may be able to relate, because you know, I look like this and I'm like I have this one spot when I squint ever so slightly, all of a sudden, maybe only with one eye, there may be this one spot where everything is briefly sharp, but can you even imagine me standing in front of a shelf with groceries and doing this? People probably, anybody who saw me probably thought, lady, are you okay? Do you need any help? I mean, I could have asked someone to read it for me, but I felt it was embarrassing. So I didn't want to do that. There you go. Next. Got this. What's next? I need to kind of like have a little bit of an order. Oh yeah, let's do this. Here, lined up for the project with the tag, not a tag, but I know what this means. This is the purple version of the Birds of a Feather. I love this yarn. I want to knit with this yarn, but yet, oh, even the knitting needles are in here. Check this out. I'm ready to rock and roll. This is so pretty, don't you think? Oh my gosh. Even though I feel like, I feel like I'm not selling purple yarn these days, even though I love this. I love this pale lilac, which reminds me of my parents' garden, because she had a lilac bush, and that was so pretty when they bloomed and smelled so good. Okay, here, needles. Well, I'm very confused. Is this a 3.5 millimeter needle? Oh, I guess it is. I've said once that I would like the Birds of a Feather in all the colors. Can we make that happen? Would be nice. I am missing some things. I will have to get those in a second, but let's continue with what's on the floor in front of me. Oh, I love this. It's not a project, but it's one of those that I want to make, but I have not started yet. And there's stuff missing here, totally. There's more stuff missing. I remember one other shawl and one sweater, so I will have to take a break. But let's take a look at this. One thing at a time. Also, I should clean these glasses. They are filthy. The pattern is called Flaum, as you probably saw on my obnoxious tag, which I was hoping would be helpful, where I thought, oh yes, I will, this is what's in here and it's ready to rock. What do you think? Is that not the cutest cardigan ever? What's my yarn? We have a theme here. Favorite color. And I have one more ball of yarn that matches, and this is from a fellow dyer in New Mexico, Quillen Fiber Arts. She's down in Las Cruces. I bought the yarn many years ago when I visited that store when we were down south. The skeins might give me a little bit of trouble. I think, here again, rustle. I think this one had a little bit more dark spots. You may even be able to see it. I will just have to, you know, fade in the new color. So this is one thing that I want to make. Now, here comes the next, wait, there's 1, 2, 3 more that where it's only the yarn paired with a pattern. And you know what, guys? I see them. I pull out the pattern and I'm like, oh my God, I really want this. Sound familiar? Be still my heart. Give me a second. Does it help if I wind them all into balls of yarn? Stunning, right? I cannot wait to do this, to work on it, and to see how the colors play together. This yarn is Perennial by Kelborn Woolens. Actually, this is also one of their yarns, same company. Yeah, okay. And then, pardon my reach, does this ever happen to you that you find some random skeins in your stash where you think, oh, they need to go together in a project? For me, it happened with these. Let me get them out of the bag. So great. Look at that. Same yarn company. And this one. Oh, also from Santa Fe. I think I bought all of these in 2023 in Santa Fe. So good together, right? And I had found this. Fingering yarn. That is a project that demands attention. The pattern is called Mirasol, and I think it's awfully cute. Yeah, so just gotta do it, right? And now I will have to go and find the other projects. I also had this random bag of yarn, yet again, clear bag to keep it in vision, right? And I had stuffed all of these in there. I believe all of these were colorways that were used in the advent calendar in 2025. And I had extra skeins where I thought, oh, they're so pretty. I want to make something, maybe a shawl or something. They could not go in the shop because the advent calendar wasn't out yet. So I set them aside, and from all of the yarns that I dyed for the calendar, this one was my favorite. So pretty. Yeah. So here, you know why there's a random bag of 4 skeins of yarn. Okay. Before we get to the true UFOs, I will show you 3 more yarn plus pattern projects that I want to make that I have not started. I will have to make a list because it's really like, but can you relate how it can make you can make yourself a little bit crazy with all these ideas. One of them you have already seen in the podcast, and this is the lower layer by my teacher in at the last Ghost Ranch retreat, MJ Mucklestone. And I have everything ready to go. Look at that. But I restarted a couple of times because I realized I will never finish it. My gauge is off. I was knitting on too thin. My needles were too thin. I thought this is not going to happen. So, and yes, now I think I'm ready to go. Hopefully I took some notes on the pattern. So I actually know what I figured out. Last time I thought I was going to work on it. Next, this beauty by Yumiko Alexander. The sweater is called Honeycomb. The yarn I had gotten on sale in Arizona. It's a Lana Grossa yarn called Linea Pura Solo Lino. Great color, right? We have a lot of greens here, man. That the cardigan with the 3 colors that match so nicely, but it's kind of like almost like a fade. Then this, and also, hold on. Where is it? Well, here's green. Now I'm missing something again. Wait a second. I found it as soon as I got up. Another clear bag calling my name. You saw this because I recently shopped for this at the yarn store at Nob Hill here in Albuquerque. Love this green. Already made the Aster shawl of this yarn, gifted it to a friend, and now I had seen this cardigan at the store and I thought that looked really cool. I really loved the cardigan, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna get the yarn I love and I'm gonna make the cardigan that's really cool. So that's that. And next, what is in this? No tag. No, nothing. Let's see. Not this I'm really curious about. Oh, right. Oh my gosh. My Bruma shawl. I want this. This is a true UFO that I haven't touched in a while. Let's take a look. 3 yarns combined. We're not going to go into the details of the yarns because let's reserve this for the episode where I actually really work on this again. But I can already tell you an extremely well-written pattern. But you may remember me saying that. Very well written, fun to knit when you stick with it. Definitely a UFO. And then, all right. Oh, I had something else before the UFOs. I believe one of my bags here, or I should say one of my daughter's bags, she brought her, when we traveled, and she brought her toys in bags like this. Also, Mama had her knitting, baby girl had her toys, whatever it was. She wanted a wrap cardigan. I dyed the yarn. I dyed the fluffy yarn, and I had this lace yarn. With over 1,100 yardage. Pretty pastel-ish yellow. Yours truly, many years ago, designed this. This is not published. Don't look for it on Ravelry. I really try hard to write good patterns, and I can confidently say that I have gotten a lot better. This one I would never publish as it is because it doesn't have the size range that I would like to offer, and it's not detailed enough. It has a few problems. Let's just leave it at that. It has a few problems. However, I thought this is exactly what she wanted. She wanted a wrap cardigan, even though this one is probably a little bit too long. I think she would like one that is waist length, but well, we can work on that. I already bought a pattern, but that one also didn't work with my stitch gauge, my gauge, my stitch, my needle size and whatnot. So I may as well alter my own pattern. So yeah, So we have now, did you keep track? How many sweaters, how many cardigans? It would be funny if it wasn't, right? But I have two more things that are true UFOs. And yeah, this tells you when I touched it last, October. This is my favorite Halloween bag that I made quite some years ago. I love the pinup witches. And what's in here is, and this is not going to be ripped out because I've always wanted this. I love huge shawls. I've always wanted the tarot deco. And that is what's in here. I got yarn from a trip, and I think I also dyed up some matching yarn, and I hold that for you. Great combo, I think. Still think it's a great combo. And where I am is past the pesty color work. I hated doing that part. But it looks so pretty. Oh my God. Oh, is it pretty? Oh my goodness. Oh. I have to say that right now I'm not in the mood for garter shawls because a hand-dyed yarn just looks better in stockinette, I find. And this one, hello. Oh, I'm so excited. This I need to continue working on. Okay, that's a UFO. Here's a UFO. And then one more, which it's going to be the same. I'm going to be like, oh, why haven't I finished this? And we are talking about the Rafaga lace shawl. That is not, it's not that, whoa, why is there a rogue, several rogue stitch markers? I had first seen this as a store sample at the yarn store at Nob Hill, and I knew I wanted to make it. It was so pretty. And then I also knew I wanted it in a lime green. And this is Shawls. Oh gosh, what's the yarn? I can't tell you. I'm discontinuing all the lace yarns because who is knitting with lace yarn these days? People only use it occasionally to hold with other yarn to bump up the gauge. So I'm not selling it a lot, so it's not something that I plan to continue carrying. I feel like it's not popular right now. What do you think? Do you knit with lace yarn? Do you knit lace shawls? It's a very small amount of knitters that does. This is where I am right now. Wait a second. Where's the center? Oh yeah, okay. I was shocked for a moment. I thought, oh my God, did I make a mistake up here? No. This is the middle spine. You see it better than I do. And once this baby is blocked, it already has quite the size. Look at that. Yeah. Cowboy boot, a stitch marker. Yeah, so now you have it. I think we're done. So that's a lot of green. That is a lot of green. Maybe I should just next pick that, the Flaum cardigan, or the wrap cardigan for my daughter. Who knows what will happen. This is a very nice and very inspiring or frustrating pile around me. And I would really, if you have a minute, take the time, please, I'd appreciate it, and tell me how you deal with this. Would you just not worry about it? Just keep it as I am right now, keep it on the shelf, in the drawer, in the wall closet? Or would you say, girl, get a grip, get real, this is not gonna work? Or another possibility, and that is really something that I am thinking about doing. I generally don't allow myself, and I've said it before, I don't allow myself to knit during the day. And it's not built into my daily routine either. But I could say, okay, every morning with my coffee, I could knit for half an hour. Every midday, when I take a break and eat something, I could take half an hour and knit a little bit. Yeah. How do you do that? How do you deal? Let me know. I'd be curious. Let's gather some helpful ideas. Okay, and plan for a UFO mania, which starts April 1st, and this is not an April Fool's joke. We will start a UFO mania for 3 months. Crochet, knitting, or any other fiber art, and have it April, May, and June. And I'm going to extend it to July, because let's do 4 months, okay? Let's end this knit along, the UFO Mania 2026, from April 1st to July, the end of July, because I'm traveling. June overlapping July, so that makes it easier from a beginning to an end of a month. Okay, and I think I have one more thing that I need to get, that you need to see, which is a true UFO, crazy UFO, that I just remembered because I already wanted to finish it at the last, when we had the last UFO Mania. Hold on. This is the famous Stanthaler sweater that I have started many years ago. This is the front, and this is the back, and there is no pattern, and there will not be a pattern, because this baby will be seamed, and nobody wants to seam these days. So this is where I am. Back is done. I will do a 3 needle bind off when I am at the, right, you know, at the shoulders. I will do a tiny ribbing at the sleeves, and I think they're probably going to come down to here. And I could not for the life of me find the notes on how I had done these increases. And when I tried to count, I couldn't see it. I just had the hardest time ever. So that, there's not a lot missing, people. Okay, finished. And this is just, so the thing is that I want to start the neck soon, the neck opening soon. It's going to be kind of like an airy, like this one, but with the short sleeves, that's going to be boom and done. but only if I actually do it, okay? And now you have really seen it all except for the blankets. I did not pull out the other blankets other than the garter one. They're vintage. So we'll just pretend they don't exist at this point, okay? I hope you're all doing great. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Let me know your thoughts, and happy knitting.